Baby Caterpillar was tired. All summer long she had been traveling slowly through the green world where she lived, and feeding on the green leaves that grew near her home. Now autumn had come and Mother Nature had given a holiday to the leaves, who put on their new dresses of red and gold and played tag with the breezes. Baby Caterpillar wanted to play too, but could not run so fast as the happy little leaves, and she grew very tired and thought she would take a nap. So she found a cozy place among the branches of a grapevine and made herself a soft, silky blanket. Then she rolled herself away within it, and then in her queer little cradle went to sleep. One night, late in the fall, Jack Frost came over the hill. He spied the cradle swinging to and fro and began to play roughly with it, for he is a roguish little fellow and touches everything that comes in his way. But the warm blanket hid the little sleeper so that Jack could not find her. By King Winter came, bringing beautiful snow blankets to Mother Nature's flower babies. He gently rocked the cradle as he passed, and whispered, "Sleep, baby, sleep, you have no need of my blankets." At last spring came with the sunbeams, the best and merriest of Mother Nature's helpers. They awoke the flowers from their long winter nap, and called to the birds and the brooks to begin their songs. When they came to the little brown cradle, they stopped to rest, and Baby Caterpillar began to get very warm under the thick blanket. She woke up and stretched herself, and her cradle broke, and she came out to greet the spring. But what a change! Instead of the old dingy dress that she went to sleep in, she now had a beautiful yellow one, and instead of crawling among the leaves, she flew up and away into the sweet spring air to play with the sunbeams and the flowers, and the little children called her a butterfly. Billet does not rhyme with ballet. Bouquet, wallet, mallet, chalet, blood and flood are not like food, nor is mold like should and would. Viscous, viscount, loud and broad, toward, to forward, to reward. And your pronunciation is okay when you correctly say croquet, rounded, wounded, grieve, and thief, friend, fiend, alive, and life. Ivy, privy, famous, clamor, and enamor rhyme with hammer. River, rival, tomb, bomb, comb, doll and roll, and some and home. Stranger does not rhyme with anger, neither does devour with clangor. Souls but full, haunt but aunt, font, front, want, grant, and grant. Shoes, goes, does, no verse say finger, and then singer, ginger, linger. Real, zeal, mauve, gauze, gouge, and gouge. Marriage, foliage, mirage, and age. Query does not rhyme with fairy, nor does fury sound like bury. Dust, lost, past, and dot, cloth, loth, job, knob, bosom, transom, oath. Though the differences seem little, we say actual but fictional. River does not rhyme with river. Fever does, and zephyr heaver. Mint, paint, sonnet, and sedat. Doll, ball, and George, athlete, scenic, Arabic, Pacific, science, conscience, scientific. Liberty, library, heave and haven, Rachel, arch, mustache, 11. We say loud but aloud. People leopard, thought but void. Mark the differences, moreover, between mover, cover, clover. Leeches, breeches, wise, breeches. Colleague but police and lies. Camel constable, unstable. Principal, disciple, label. Petal, panel, and canal. With surprise plate, promise, Paul. War and storm, chase, chaos, chair. Senator, spectator, mayor. Tour but hour and secure for. Gas, alas, and Arkansas. Sea, idea, Korea, area. Sound, Maria, but malaria. Youth, south, southern, cleans, and clean. Doctrine, turpentine, marine. Compare alien with Italian, dandelion and battalion. Sally with alley, yea. A, away, and key. Say ever but ever, favor. Neither leisure, skin deceiver. Heron, granary, canary. Crayfish, and device, and airy. Part 3. Read this twister tongue. Naturally read it 3 times. First time is first for slow mode. Okay. How much would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? He would chuck as much as he could and chuck as much wood as a woodchuck would if a woodchuck could chuck wood. Can you can a canned can into an canned can like a canner? Can a canned can into an uncanned can? Silly Sally swiftly should 7 silly sheep. The 7 silly sheep silly Sally should. Silly Shelleyed south. This sheep shouldn't sleep in a shack. Sheep should sleep in a shed. All I want is a proper cup of coffee made in proper copper coffee pot. I may be off my dot, but I want a cup of coffee from a proper coffee pot. Amidst the mist and coldest frost, with stoutest wrist and loudest boast, he thrust his fist against the post, and still insists he sees and ghost. For the normal mood, how much would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? He would as much as he could and chuck as much wood as a woodchuck would if a woodchuck could chuck wood. Can you can a canned can into an uncanned can like a canner can a canned can into an uncanned can? Silly Sally Swifty should 7 silly sheep. The 7 silly sheep silly Sally should silly Shelley south. The sheep shouldn't sleep in a shack. Sheep should sleep in a shed. All I want is a proper cup of coffee made in a proper copper coffee pot. I may be off my dot, but I want a cup of coffee from a proper coffee pot. Amidst the coldest frost, with stoutest wrist and loudest brows, he thrust his fist against the post, and still insists he sees the ghost. For first mode, how much would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? He would as much as he could and chuck as much wood as a woodchuck would if a woodchuck could chuck wood. Can you can a canned can into an uncanned can like a canned can canned can into uncanned can? Silly Sally swiftly shoot 7 silly sheep. The 7 silly sheep silly Sally shoot. Silly Shelley south. This sheep shouldn't sleep in a shack. Sheep should sleep in a shed. All I want is a proper cup of coffee made in proper copper coffee pot. I may be off my dot, but I want a coffee from a proper coffee pot. Amidst the mist and coldest frost, with stoutest wrist and loudest brows, he thrusts his fist against the post, and still insists he sees the ghost.